You're doing everything right. You have a good job. You got the promotion. You bought the house. You drive a solid car. You're putting money into your retirement account. On paper, you're winning. So, why does it feel like your life is falling apart? Why does it still feel like everyone is doing better than you? That feeling isn't you being paranoid. It's your brain picking up on a real pattern. Because the exact things you were told would make you successful, the house, the car, the lifestyle that shows the world you've made it, those are the same things that are quietly draining your wallet. Not in a big dramatic way, not all at once, just slowly and steadily, month after month, until one day you look up and realize you've been running on a treadmill that keeps speeding up while you stay in the exact same place. 74% of Americans regret something about how they handled their money. The biggest regret for people in their 40s and 50s is not saving for retirement early enough. But here's what nobody tells you. Most of those people didn't fail to save because they were irresponsible. They failed to save because they walked into traps that looked like smart decisions at the time. Traps that everyone around them was walking into too. Traps that felt like progress when they were actually quicksand. I'm going to walk you through the money traps that swallow people in their 30s and 40s. Not the obvious ones like credit card debt or gambling. The sneaky ones. The ones dressed up as responsible adult decisions. The ones that are probably hurting you right now without you even noticing. This is not financial advice. I don't know your personal situation. But I do know that spotting these traps is the first step to avoiding them, or climbing out if you're already stuck inside one. Let's start with the first trap, and it's a big one. The trap of buying more house than you can really afford. I know what you're thinking. I'm not stupid. I got approved for the mortgage. The bank said I could afford it. But here's the problem with that thinking. The bank's idea of affordable has nothing to do with your real life. When a lender approves you for a mortgage, they're figuring out the maximum amount you can technically pay without stopping payments right away. They don't think about your daycare costs. They don't think about the fact that you want to go on vacation sometimes. They don't think about saving for retirement or building an emergency fund. They calculate what you can barely survive on, not what you can comfortably live on. According to the Atlanta Fed's Housing Ownership Affordability Monitor, owning a middle-priced home now takes up nearly 48% of the average household's income. That's almost half of everything you earn going to just one expense. The old rule of thumb says you should spend no more than 30% on housing. We've gone way past that. And it gets worse. Nearly 75% of American families cannot afford a middle-priced new home in 2025. Families earning $100,000 a year, which sounds like a lot, can only afford 37% of homes for sale. Compare that to 2019 when the same income could afford 65% of homes. In just 6 years, the choices for middle-income families have been cut almost in half. Here's what happens when you stretch too far to buy a bigger house. You get approved for $400,000. The house is beautiful. It has the extra bedroom, the nice kitchen, the yard where your kids can play. But after paying the mortgage, property taxes, insurance, repairs, and utility bills, you have nothing left over. You're house rich and cash poor. Every surprise expense becomes a disaster. Every month feels tight. You can't save. You can't invest. You're just barely getting by. The smart move is to buy well below what you're approved for, maybe 70% of your maximum approval. This leaves room for everything else. Retirement savings, emergency money, childcare, the actual cost of living your life. A smaller house with breathing room beats a bigger house with constant money stress every single time. The second trap is one that catches almost everybody. The car payment trap. The average monthly car payment on a new vehicle in 2026 is $772. That's not a typo. Over $700 a month just to get around. And here's the scary part. More than 20% of new car buyers are now agreeing to monthly payments over $1,000. 22% of borrowers are taking out 84-month loans just to make those payments feel manageable. 7 years of payments on a car that loses value every single day. Let me show you what that actually costs you. If you're paying $750 a month for a car, that's $9,000 a year. Over a 6-year loan, you'll pay $54,000, but the car will only be worth maybe $15,000 to $20,000 when you're done paying. You've lost $35,000 just to the car losing value. And that's before you add insurance, which costs another $225 a month on average for full coverage, plus gas, maintenance, and repairs. Now, imagine if instead of that $750 car payment, you bought a reliable used car for $15,000 cash or financed it for 3 years at $300 a month. The difference, $450 a month, put into an index fund earning 8% returns over 30 years, would grow to over $670,000. Every expensive car you buy is a trade. You're trading your future wealth for present comfort. That's your choice to make, but make it with open eyes. Understand what you're giving up. The car trap is especially dangerous in your 30s and 40s because this is when your income goes up and lifestyle spending kicks in. You got a raise, so you upgrade the car. You got promoted, so you feel like you deserve the nicer model. Your neighbor bought a new SUV, so yours starts to look old. These pressures are constant and quiet, and they slowly drain your wealth without making any noise. The third trap is childcare, and this one is tough because there's often no way around it. The average cost of daycare in the United States is over $17,000 per year for one baby. In expensive states like Massachusetts or Washington, D.C., it's over $24,000. For 2 children, 1 baby and 1 toddler, families are paying an average of $28,000 a year across the country. In some states, that's more than rent. Parents surveyed by Care.com report that childcare takes up about 20% of their household income. Add in other care costs for aging parents, pets, and household help, and the average family spends 37% of their income on care-related costs. This creates a crushing squeeze during exactly the years when you should be building wealth. Your 30s and early 40s are supposed to be your prime earning and saving years. Instead, families are barely staying afloat, just covering child care while putting almost nothing toward retirement. The trap isn't child care itself. You need child care. The trap is not planning for it properly when making other money decisions. People buy expensive houses, lease expensive cars, and then find out they can't afford good child care, or they can afford child care, but nothing else. No savings, no investments, no safety net. If you're planning to have children, factor child care into your housing decision. Factor it into your car decision. Factor it into your entire way of living. Because for 5 to 6 years per child, this expense will control your budget. Plan for it before you lock yourself into other things. The fourth trap is lifestyle inflation. This one doesn't feel like a trap at all. It feels like a reward. You started your career making $50,000. Now you make $90,000. Your income went up 80%. But somehow you're not saving 80% more. You might not be saving anything at all. Where did the money go? It went everywhere. A better apartment than a house. A nicer car. More dinners out. Premium subscriptions. A new phone every year. Business class instead of economy that one time, which became every time. Private school because you can now afford it. A vacation that cost twice what your old vacations used to cost. Each individual upgrade felt reasonable. You earned it. You work hard. You deserve nice things. And all of that is true. But the overall effect is that your spending grew just as fast as your income, leaving you with the same amount of breathing room you had when you made half as much. Research shows that real wages for middle-class Americans grew only about 12% over the past 2 decades, even though paychecks nearly doubled in size. The gap between what you earn and what you keep hasn't gotten better because expenses keep up with earnings. Prices on necessities like housing, healthcare, childcare, and education have grown faster than wages, and then lifestyle inflation eats up whatever is left. The defense against lifestyle inflation is making a plan. Every time your income goes up, decide in advance how much of that increase will go toward improving your lifestyle and how much will go toward improving your future. A good rule is 50% to savings or paying off debt, 50% to lifestyle. Your life gets better, but so does your bank account. The fifth trap is the debt normalization trap. Americans owe $18.8 trillion in consumer debt. The average household carries over $15,000 in debt. Gen X, people currently in their mid-40s to late 50s, carries the highest debt load of any generation. People ages 40 to 49 hold $4.8 trillion in total debt, more than any other age group. And here's what's wild. This feels completely normal. Everyone has a mortgage. Everyone has a car payment. Most people have credit card balances. Student loans stretch into your 40s and 50s. When debt is everywhere, it stops feeling like a problem. It just feels like life. But debt has a compounding cost, just like investments have compounding growth. The average credit card interest rate is over 20%. If you carry a $6,000 balance and only make minimum payments, you'll be paying that debt for decades and spend thousands in interest. Meanwhile, that money isn't growing anywhere. The missed opportunity is enormous. The normalization of debt is the trap. Just because everyone around you is in debt doesn't mean it's the best way to live. Aggressively paying off high-interest debt should be treated like an emergency, not a slow multi-year project. Every dollar of credit card interest is a dollar that could have been growing in your retirement account. The sixth trap is the retirement procrastination trap. I know you've heard about compound interest. You've seen the charts showing how someone who starts investing early ends up with way more than someone who starts late. You get the idea, but understanding something and actually doing it are two very different things for most people. 54% of American households have zero retirement savings. The middle retirement balance for people aged 55 to 64 is only $185,000. That sounds like a lot until you realize it needs to last 20 to 30 years of living. The trap works like this. In your 30s, retirement feels too far away to make it a priority. You have more urgent needs. A house down payment, weddings, student loans, childcare. You'll catch up later. In your 40s, you realize you're behind, but now you have bigger expenses and helping kids with college feels more important. You'll definitely catch up in your 50s. By your 50s, the numbers are brutal. You'd need to save 30% or more of your income just to make up for lost time. Most people simply can't do that. The tax rules actually try to help with this. In 2026, you can put up to $24,500 into a 401k, plus $8,000 in catch-up contributions if you're over 50. If you're between 60 and 63, there's a super catch-up that allows an extra $11,250, but these options only help if you actually use them. The minimum retirement plan for someone in their 30s and 40s is this. Put in at least enough to get your full employer match, then max out a Roth IRA at $7,500, and set both to automatic so you never even see the money. If that feels too hard, cut something else, because your future self will be very grateful. The seventh trap is the suburban sprawl trap. This one sits right where housing and transportation meet. You buy a house in the suburbs because it costs less, but the commute means you need 2 cars. You spend more on gas, insurance, and repairs. You spend more hours driving, which means less time for side jobs or extra income. The restaurants and entertainment options are farther away and somehow cost more when you add in all the driving. Studies consistently show that people underestimate the true cost of commuting. Not just the direct costs of gas and car upkeep, but the time you lose, the damage to your health and relationships, and the hidden costs of suburban life. A house that costs $50,000 less but requires an hour commute each way might actually cost more over time than the pricier house closer to work. When looking at housing, factor in the full transportation cost. Add up 2 car payments, 2 insurance policies, gas for commuting, and maintenance. Then compare that to what you'd pay extra for a house in a location where you could manage with 1 car or no car at all. The 8th trap is trying to keep up with people who earn what you earn. When you were making $40,000, your friends were making similar amounts. Your spending expectations matched. But as you move into your 30s and 40s, income gaps happen. Some of your peers make twice what you make, some make half, but social expectations don't adjust to match. Your neighbor drives a Tesla. Your coworker talks about their European vacation. Your college friend just bought a lake house. These things create pressure to match them, to show that you're doing just as well. But you don't know their full picture. Maybe they got an inheritance. Maybe they're buried in debt behind that fancy lifestyle. Maybe their partner earns 3 times what yours does. Comparing yourself to others is a trap because it disconnects your spending from your actual money situation. The only useful comparison is between your current self and your own financial goals. If you're on track for your goals, it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. If you're not on track, copying their spending will definitely not help. The ninth trap is the perfect timing trap. I'll start investing when the market goes down. I'll buy a house when prices drop. I'll ask for a raise when the company is doing better. I'll start saving when I earn more money. This trap hides doing nothing as if it were a smart strategy. You tell yourself you're being careful by waiting for the right moment. But the right moment rarely comes, and when it does, you find new reasons to wait. The market drops, but now you're scared to buy during uncertain times. The house prices drop, but now you're worried about your job. The company does better, but now your expectations of what you deserve have also gone up. Time spent in the market beats trying to time the market. Starting now with imperfect conditions beats waiting forever for perfect conditions that never show up. The best time to start was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. The 10th trap, and this one might be the most dangerous of all, is the busy trap. You're so busy working, commuting, taking care of kids, managing the house, and handling daily problems that you never have time to think carefully about your money. You never sit down and actually check whether you're on the right track. You never look into better options for insurance, investments, or paying off debt. You never negotiate your salary or look for higher-paying jobs. You're working hard but not working smart when it comes to your money life. The busyness itself becomes a reason to stay on autopilot. Keep paying the same bills you've always paid, keep the subscriptions you've always had, keep the money habits that aren't helping you grow. Being busy is not something to be proud of when it stops you from taking care of the most important resource you have, which is your money. Set aside time every 3 months to look over your finances. Put it on your calendar like any other important meeting, because 1 hour of reviewing your money can save you thousands of dollars and years of trying to catch up. Here's what makes these traps especially dangerous. They don't work alone. They stack on top of each other. You stretch for the bigger house, which means a longer commute. The longer commute means you need 2 dependable cars, which means 2 car payments. The money stress from the house and cars makes you feel like you deserve nice things. So, lifestyle spending creeps in. The lifestyle spending leaves nothing for retirement savings. The lack of retirement savings creates worry, but you're too busy managing the house, the cars, the commute, and the childcare to actually do anything about it. One trap leads to another. Each one makes the others harder to get out of. By the time you see the pattern, you're caught in a web of connected money decisions that all seem fine on their own, but feel suffocating when you put them all together. This is why the answer isn't just avoiding one trap. It's understanding that every big money decision affects every other one. The house you buy decides what car you need. The car you drive decides what money is left for childcare. The childcare cost decides what's left for retirement. It's all connected. The people who build real wealth in their 30s and 40s aren't necessarily smarter or luckier. They're more intentional. They see the connections before making decisions. They leave wiggle room in their budgets instead of pushing every category to the max. They choose flexibility over status. Let me tell you what life looks like if you avoid these traps. You buy a modest house with room to breathe. You drive a reliable used car and invest the difference. You plan for childcare before committing to other expenses. You save half of every raise. You pay off debt aggressively instead of treating it as normal. You start retirement contributions early and let compound interest do the heavy lifting. You live close enough to work so that transportation doesn't eat up your wealth. You stop paying attention to what everyone else is doing and focus on your own goals. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and start today. You make time for money planning even when life gets busy. Do all of that and you're not running on a treadmill anymore. You're making real progress, building real wealth, and creating real options for your future. The traps I've described aren't signs that you've failed as a person. They're built into the financial world we all live in. Banks make money when you borrow more than you should. Car dealers make money when you finance more than you need. The entire consumer economy is set up to grab every extra dollar you earn before you can save it. You're not bad with money. You're living in a system that is designed to take your money. Once you see that clearly, you can start making different choices. The ground doesn't have to fall out from under your feet, but you have to stop walking toward the cracks. If you're in your 30s, you have time. Use it. Start now. even with small amounts. Build the habits that grow over decades. If you're in your 40s, you still have time, but less of it. Be more aggressive. Cut spending that isn't helping your goals. Put as much as you can into retirement. Make building wealth more important than upgrading your lifestyle. The traps are real, but so is the path around them. You just have to be willing to walk it.